Good afternoon. 3 matches for you today on the big match, with the bearings so far as Championship are concerned both north and south of the border. Little wonder that a crowd approaching 50,000 was at Highbury for Arsenal, lying fourth at the start of the day, against Manchester United, who were third. And at Nottingham, we had Forest lying 8th against Southampton, who were 5th, action from there as well. But the biggest crowd of the day was in Glasgow, as Celtic faced the leaders Aberdeen. Top action from that game too. However, we're going to start at Highbury with Arsenal against Manchester United and the return of a man with something to prove.
Tony Woodcock is back for Arsenal after being dropped for 2 games and, of course, puts himself firmly in the running to keep his place in the England World Cup side in Belfast next Wednesday. No coincidence, of course, that Bobby Robson, the England manager, is here in the big crowd at Highbury today. Well as Woodcock, Charlie Nicholas, sub for the last 2 games, is given a start for Arsenal today. Raphael Meade and Ian Allinson make way. And returning after injury in midfield is Paul Davis. Brian Talbot drops to sub. Blow for Manchester United this morning. Remy Moses failed a fitness test, and so both Moses and Brian Robson out of the United midfield. It means that defender Mick Duxbury will now bolster things up by playing just in front of the midfield. And the former Arsenal star Frank Stapleton comes into the attack with Norman Whiteside going to sub. The referee today is John Martin of Alton in Hampshire, and a distinguished visitor here this afternoon is the King of Tonga. So Arsenal get us underway, attacking the goal to our right. Manchester United this afternoon in the white shirts, on an afternoon when really the time has come for both these clubs to start making inroads on that lead that Everton have at the top. Both know that 3 points today are so crucial in their bid to get in amongst those championship hopes come May. Arsenal, in fact, have lost only 1 at home this season in the league. That was against Tottenham. Good record here against Manchester United, although they were beaten 3-2 in this corresponding game last season. And here's a chance for an early break, but the flag was up. Marriner's shot was over. The linesman's flag was up. United breathe again with a free kick. Flag went up straight away, and you can see that there probably was a touch of offside about it. Oren, McGrath, Albiston. Olsen, a lovely ball and a lovely piece of running, and look at the space here for Arthur Albiston. Now, can they finish this one off? Oh, my goodness, it was almost an own goal by Tommy Caton. A lovely run by Olsen, and what a ball there that suddenly put him in the clear for Albiston. And it could so easily have been an own goal by Tommy Caton. United have a problem. Kevin Moran, who was only past fit late this week, in fact yesterday, because of a calf strain, looks as though that might present a problem for United now, which probably would mean that Mike Duxbury would have to go into the centre of the defence, and the substitute Norman Whiteside, who's already warming up, would then take one of the forward positions. I think Moran's going off. The physiotherapist, Jim McGregor's having a word with the referee. Now, whether they want to bring him back at a later juncture, I don't know. But for the moment, Manchester United, with Moran off the field, are playing with 10 men. Here's Nicholas. Oh, good play by Nicholas. And, well, not a bad finish either. And with the ball out of play, it's a chance for United to get back to full strength. Kevin Moran off, will stay off, and Norman Whiteside will come on. As if United are having enough troubles with Brian Robson still up in Manchester, and there's Remy Moses in the tracksuit top, also with an injury. Next to him is Alan Davis, who's deciding this weekend whether to join Crystal Palace or not. It's a throw to Arsenal, which Williams has taken. Mariner, the touch for Charlie Nicholas. Now Stuart Robson. Chance to make one of those forging runs of his. And a nice ball studiously played through. And McGrath pulling Woodcock down when Woodcock looked for a moment as though he might be clear and dangerous. And a free kick to Arsenal. That's a lovely ball, studiously played in there, and Woodcock really looked as though he might have pounced on it. So, what can Arsenal do with this? Is it made for a curler from Charlie Nicholas? A blaster from Tony Woodcock? It's Arsenal's free kick, and there are one or two permutations there. Mariners in the Manchester United wall. It's going to be Woodcock, and it's driven just wide. And a goal kick given. Again, Arsenal thinking that it may have been a corner. Well, you couldn't really tell from that whether there was a deflection or not. Sanson, Nicholas, and now Strachan. It's Sanson with the throw for Arsenal, and a good long one it is. Stapleton finding Olsen. That's not a bad ball for Norman Whiteside. Onto that left foot. A brilliant goal for Manchester United by Norman Whiteside, the substitute. Superbly taken. That gives United the lead on the half hour. Olsen playing a lovely ball through, but the hard work now is done by Norman Whiteside. Arsenal 0, Manchester United 1. Scorer Norman Whiteside. Nicholas. Anderson, the flag's going here. Well, that was a jolt for Arsenal, and it's certainly a warning up in the stand for Bobby Robson, the England manager, with Norman Whiteside due to face England in the World Cup on Wednesday. And relief, although you wouldn't spot it there, on the Manchester United bench. And a bit of a problem there, not only keeping the sun out of their eyes, but wondering how they're going to get the goal back on the Arsenal bench. But here come Arsenal streaming away with Steve Williams. It won't reach Woodcock. Sanson then with the throw. Here's Nicholas. Corner. Minutes to go in this first half, with Manchester United leading by a goal to nil. O'Leary's gone forward again. Nicholas again with the corner. Oh, and a free header for Viv Anderson. And he put it wide. Well, he's annoyed naturally enough, and there must be vast relief in that Arsenal, in that Manchester United defence. Look at the space they allowed him. Sanson. That's the last strike of the first half by Arsenal, but that will come to nothing because O'Leary's long pass goes into touch. It'll be a throw to Manchester United. Half-time whistle. And the goal after half an hour by Norman Whiteside, and a fine one it was, gives the visitors a lead here at the interval. So the big crowd contemplating what might happen in the second half, but talking over a first half that finishes Arsenal 0, Manchester United 1. So Manchester United get us away at the start of the second half, leading by a goal to 0. Remember, with Kevin Moran off the field, injured, and a substitute Norman Whiteside, who scored the only goal, and Paul McGrath playing in the back four. It's O'Leary now for Arsenal. Manchester United, in fact, who did the double over Arsenal last season, and have already beaten them 4-2 up at Old Trafford this season. But here's Woodcock. It's a shot on the turn, and the first real save of the game that Gary Bayliss had to make. Woodcock with a good turn here. Over the head of Caton, but a foul on him by Stapleton. Free kick. Sanson. Woodcock. It's been pounded by the United defence, particularly McGrath in this second half. Woodcock. It's Nicholas being watched by Duxbury. Nicholas. Oh, he might go all the way, Charlie Nicholas. Davis with a chance! And somehow Bailey saved it. Under really close attentions there from Tony Woodcock. Made by Charlie Nicholas in the first place, though. Now that's a bit more like it from Nicholas. And the feeling is that Davis might have done a bit more than that, but good work by Bailey. Now Stapleton. In for Mark Hughes. Might take a bit of holding off. There are 3 to do it, though. Stapleton playing it in. Can Strachan get there? Touch and go there for Arsenal. It needed just a touch from the Scot. And Lukic was already committed. It was a nice little ball played in there. And Lukic gathered it. Strachan's header. He's chased a few causes today as Stapleton, and he's brought down by Caton. Caton's name goes into the book. Caton claiming it is a pure accident. But there's no doubt at all that Stapleton was through and looking really threatening. Anything might happen here. The ball certainly needs to be perfectly lined up. Gidman's gone wide to the right, and the referee wants the ball back 10 yards. So it might be a blast by Norman Whiteside, in point of fact. Olsen touches it, Whiteside blasts it. Good. Well, a few cheers from the North Bank as Arsenal start to warm up. Brian Talbot. Hughes. 6 minutes remaining now. And still United lead by a goal to 0. Going to try and bring Talbot on now. The linesman flagging away there, but he's not really ready, and that's holding up everything. And I can't think why the linesman was flagging there. Arsenal are not making the effort to get him on right now, and the game's going to be held up for a minute while he gets on. He hasn't even got his sweater off yet. Well, I think that's ridiculous. It's Paul Davis, I think, who'll probably go off, although there isn't a number, unless the referee showing us the number 8 who's got to go off. And Brian Talbot comes on. Well, he publicly said today that he wasn't very happy at being dropped. He thinks it's his best season he's had at Highbury, and indeed 11 goals to his credit seem to agree with it. Well, one of those goals Arsenal could certainly do with now. Woodcock. Kidman holding him off. Arsenal get the throw inside the last 5 minutes. Robson, Williams. Now the break is on. 3 against 1 for Manchester United. Olsen is one away on the right. Mark Hughes is away here on the left, and only O'Leary is back. Now Olsen can, no, he can't finish it off. Lukic was out there. Well, what a moment that was. 3 against 1, and they played it superbly, United. But in the end, Olsen couldn't quite finish it off. And certainly the crowd here of 48,612 must have felt that's goal number 2 for United. But it's a corner instead. Arsenal's 3rd biggest crowd of the season. They had bigger ones against Liverpool and Spurs here. Olsen, and headed clear by Anderson. Olsen again. Well, the lad who had a week or so here as a youngster, training with Arsenal, very nearly scored for United right at the death. Stapleton trying to get in there. Whiteside trying to get in there again, and somehow O'Leary just hacking it away for a Manchester United corner. So we get the corner. Precious little time left. Strachan with that corner. And a goal kick. Time has come now for Arsenal to plunge everybody forward in a last desperate attempt to pull something from the game now. Mariner up. Nicholas trying to get Woodcock on his way. In turn trying to get Talbot through it. I think Talbot's had a touch of the ball yet. Well, the substitute came on and scored for Manchester United. Arsenal will be desperate for the same thing to happen for them now. On the right side did it, and Talbot also. Inside the last minute now. Free kick to Arsenal. A foul by Strachan on Robson. Pushed everybody forward now. Only Williams, Sampson and goalkeeper Lukic are back. Oh, now Williams is going forward. They've really planted everybody forward now. Anderson tried to get the header in. O'Leary also trying to keep the momentum going for Arsenal. And a corner. Talbot racing off down towards that corner flag with the ball. And they've pushed everybody now into that Manchester United penalty area. Oh, and it was knocked away by Whiteside. So, Nicholas now with the corner at the other end, after Whiteside had done a tremendous job there in defence for Manchester United. Flicked on once more. Sanson trying to get it in there. United trying to get it away. Woodcock also. Robson in there. Caton in there. And in the end it goes behind for the goal kick. A huge relief amongst the big travelling support from Manchester United. And now Whiteside. Referee looking at a watch again. And again. At 3 minutes of injury time now. Free kick to Manchester United. The feet of Viv Anderson a little too high there as he tried an overhead kick. And you have to say now that Arsenal's last chance of forcing an equaliser is probably gone. Alderson with the free kick. Final whistle, a victory and 3 precious points for Manchester United with a goal by Norman Whiteside after half an hour. A lot of pressure from Arsenal late in the game, but never really with a clear sight on goal that would give them the hope of making the breakthrough that really mattered. So a full-time score here at Highbury. It's Arsenal 0, Manchester United 1.
Splendid atmosphere, a satisfying victory then for Manchester United, not least, I suppose, the form shown in midfield by their goal scorer Norman Whiteside. As manager Ron Atkinson said, he was positively brilliant. And certainly Norman must have provided a sharp reminder of his form to the England manager Bobby Robson before Wednesday's World Cup game in Belfast. But what did Bobby think of the Arsenal and England striker Tony Woodcock?
I actually thought he played quite well. It did seem as though he had restored his appetite, because he worked prodigiously hard and wanted to play very much, and played where it was obviously going to try and hurt Manchester United, so he played in those areas, those attacking areas, and overall his performance pleased me.
Where do you set your sights now in Belfast on Wednesday?
Not to lose. That's very important, I think. We want to get early points. We've done very well, obviously, 4 points from 2 games. We want to qualify badly, and the earlier we qualify, the better. So we're looking to get early points. It's as simple as that. We want to try and win the league before anybody else can catch us. It will be difficult in Ireland, far different to what it was in Turkey. It's a different match entirely. They're difficult to beat, I think, at Windsor Park. Apart from that match last year against Wales in the home championships, I don't think they've lost for about 3 years. So we know that. So it's going to be a difficult game but for both teams, because I think it will be difficult for Northern Ireland as well.
1-0 then to Manchester United on the day, but they might have had a penalty as well. Quite a talking point here, in fact, when we spotted a remarkable incident following an Arsenal corner in the first half. As the corner comes in, just watch goalkeeper John Lukic and the number 6 Graham Hogg there. That was some push, and it seems right under the eyes of the referee, though John Martin was probably watching the flight of the ball. It proves again that referees really do need about 6 pairs of eyes, I think, when corners are being taken. Arsenal certainly got away with that one. One other black spot, of course, for Arsenal was the booking of Steve Williams in the second half. It now takes him over 20 points, makes him due for suspension, and his manager, Don Howe, he said afterwards, his self-discipline has got to improve. Coming next, more First Division action as Nottingham Forest take on Southampton, and the goals from Scotland as Celtic face Aberdeen. That's after the break. Welcome back. Now it's Nottingham Forest against Southampton. That's our next action for you today. And our commentator at Nottingham is Peter Brackley.
A European place next season is the only realistic target now for a Forest side that's at full strength today. Ian Bowyer restored to midfield in place of Colin Walsh. Up front, Gary Birtles plays his 4th game since his lengthy recovery from a spinal operation last year. Southampton have had their problems, of course, this season, but they've clearly not proved a major distraction. They're ticking over nicely, and they won 5 of their last 6 matches. Leading scorer Joe Jordan is missing, though, today through suspension. His number 9 shirt goes to Ian Baird, who returned recently from a loan period with Newcastle. Today's referee is Paul Vaines of Whalley. So Southampton then in the darker shorts, kicking off from right to left, with the encouragement of having won their last 3 matches here. They also beat Forest at the Dell earlier in the season. The Forest, well, they're hoping for the fillip today of having kept active during the freeze. They played a couple of matches out in Iraq. Though you're knocking it through, the offside flag up against Steve Hodge. And of course, the man that Forest are facing today, Peter Shorten, more than 200 games for Nottingham Forest in his so successful spell here. And Brian Clough is worried that the players have got a bit of a complex about facing him. Mills. Looking for Armstrong. Good interception though by McInally. Ned Hodge streaming away to his right, and support here too from Wigley. The Forest have got plenty of players forward in this attack. Wigley with the cross in. In goes Hodge. Couldn't make the final contact. Certainly Southampton was stretched there, and Peter Shilton knows it too. Wigley's cross in. Davenport may have got a touch on the way, but look for Hodge arriving at the far post. Certainly looks as if there was a flick there from Davenport, and there was Hodge. Curtis. There was Mills. Doing a good job, Mickey Mills, just tucked in front of the back four. Now Hodge. Always looking to show his pace. Bowyer, what's going on? And his sheer endeavour took him through there. 25 minutes gone, and Steve Hodge has given Nottingham Forest the lead. Actively involved throughout the move, and his persistence took him on. Bowyer and Davenport just helping him there, and as Shilton came out, he steered it past him. So Steve Hodge gives Forest the lead. It's Forest 1, Southampton 0. Steve Hodge with his 10th goal of the season, and only Peter Davenport at the Forest side has scored more. And he'll have taken a great deal of delight for that goal, with the complex that it's felt Brian Clough considers the players have about Peter Shilton. Well, they've beaten him now. Hodge, the goal scorer. Did well that defined Birtles. And it's a very spirited period at the moment for Forest. Hodge, McAnally outside him. Whistle down and a penalty surely. Morant who brought it down. As Forest threatened to thread a way through, and it was Steve Morant the culprit. McAnally was clearly away and wrestled down then by Morant. Peter Davenport is Forest penalty taker. He hasn't missed one yet this season, but he's facing the man they say psychs out the opponent, Peter Shilton. Well, he almost did it. Davenport has scored the second goal. A shrug of the shoulders there. 29 minutes gone, and 2 goals in 4 minutes. The second from Peter Davenport and put Forest here in a commanding position. Shilton certainly appeared to get a hand to it there, but he couldn't keep it out. So it's 2-0 to Nottingham Forest. Peter Davenport with goal number 15 this season. Now for Medhot. Well driven in, and Shilton had to get down quickly. Teddy Medhot with 5 goals so far for Nottingham Forest this season. And Shilton just kicking the ball into touch with one of his teammates down. I think it's Dennis. Dennis being helped off the field for further treatment, so clearly there's some concern on the Southampton backroom staff there. Aaron McManamy looking on, and indeed I think he's going to make the substitution. David Puckett is the Southampton sub, and indeed he's coming on for Mark Dennis. David Puckett, as Dennis being helped away, clearly in some trouble there with his left leg. David Puckett, who scored the winning goal, in fact, when Southampton beat Forest earlier in the season. But Wigley brings it away for Forest. Ed Hart have made the run outside it, hoping to create some space through the middle for Wigley to exploit. Now Birtles. Here's Hodge. Driven back across, and it didn't fall for one of his teammates. It had have done. And it could have been a real problem there for Peter Shilton. But now it's Forest's turn to defend as Southampton pour forward. Curtis. It's Wallace outside him. 3-4 Southampton players waiting in there. That was Baird. Sega somehow kept it out. An excellent jump then by Baird at the far post. It was very close indeed to scoring. Wallace with the long cross. And look for Baird arriving there at the far post. And Sega's kept it out with the aid of the post too. There's Wallace. He's always looking to take on defenders. Mills. It's a fairly patient build-up here by Southampton. Armstrong. Was he brought down then by Sagers? Well, there's dismay on the faces of some of the Southampton players. It certainly appeared that Sagers was in the way, to say the least, of Armstrong then, who suddenly popped up. And his right steers it back to Peter Schultz. Let's have a look again at the incident where it did appear that Sagers brought Armstrong down. It certainly looks as if he's holding him back there. Medhot trying to find Davenport. Squirmed away from right. Still Davenport, now Birtles and Hodge. So often these three have created openings between them. Bowyer with the shot driven in. Davenport beaten away by Schultz. Pure reaction save then by the England goalkeeper. But a delightful turn by Davenport, who really is playing as well as any striker in the country. Southampton failing to get it away. It was Bowyer's shot there. And look how quickly he turns. And Schultz saving Southampton. Fairclough. Certainly there have been no problems about the Forest pitch here today. It's played perfectly. And that's a tribute to an old Forest favourite, Billy Gray, who's the groundsman here. Member of their 1959 FA Cup winning side. Is Medhot. Davenport. Medhot again. Can this be three? Well, if he got it alone, it might well have been. He's gone on. But he pulled it back, and the chance went begging. Moran. Here's Bowyer. Plenty of room away to his right here for Wigley, who's seen plenty of the ball in the second half particularly. There's Davenport. Looking to weave an opening. Medhot. Now for Wigley again. We've got Birtles in the middle and Davenport. Here's Wigley. He's squirmed past them. Davenport. Medhot. Hit Birtles. Davenport. No, the flag's up. The flag's up. It won't count. It was Davenport who put it in, but the flag was already up. Presumably for offside. And the goal won't stand. Good work here by Wigley. Here's Davenport. It falls for Medhot, who drives it left-footed. It strikes Birtles there. Davenport puts it in, but the flag's already up.
Well, a win that lifts Brian Clough's team to 5th place. The top three all won, of course, so Everton keep their 4-point lead. They visit Manchester United next week, who are confident of having both Brian Robson and Remy Moses fit again. And Liverpool play Forest next week. And incidentally, we saw the Southampton defender Mark Dennis carried off there. It was thought at first that Mark had got a fractured shin. Good news is it's severe bruising. Our final action today is from Scotland. It's Celtic against Aberdeen, the most crucial game of the season, I suppose, because a win for Aberdeen would almost certainly seal the title for them. Nearly 49,000 at Parkhead in Glasgow. Our commentators Jock Brown and Celtic are in the hoops.
Rollins corner kick. This goes up with Aiken. Maurice Johnston. 1-0 to Celtic. So the value of Maurice Johnston proved once again. Celebrating his 13th goal for Celtic. It came about in simple fashion. The corner kick from Davy Provan. The outswinger met well by Roy Ayton. And Johnston there to sweep it home to give Celtic a vital lead. Queen's header, Paul McStay wins it again. There's McLeish with Provan. Provan's cross, Maurice Johnston underneath it with Neil Cooper, and that's a penalty kick. Well, that should settle things now for Celtic. There's scarcely enough time for the penalty to be taken. The high cross from Davy Provan. Johnston and Cooper underneath it. Cooper appeared to be guilty of that bit of pushing under the ball. The penalty kick's been given, and Celtic has a perfect opportunity to settle the match. Now the kicker, I think, will be Paul McStay. 2-0 to Celtic. Paul McStay, perhaps the finest player afield, gets the second goal and surely wins the points for Celtic.
Yes, victory for Celtic, and it means Aberdeen's lead has now been narrowed to 5 points. Celtic got those 2 games in hand. 2 points for a win, of course, in Scotland. Well, that's it. An important week of World Cup football coming up, and England go to Belfast on Wednesday, well, in a pretty confident frame of mind after their fine wins against Finland and Turkey. But maybe Northern Ireland's Norman Whiteside will give them something to think about after his brilliant winner for Manchester United yesterday. And by the way, just look at the ground Norman covered from one penalty area to the other. Good afternoon.
Stapleton finding Olsen. That's not a bad ball for Norman Whiteside. Onto that left foot. A brilliant goal for Manchester United.